This is all within the sphere, the geographical sphere of influence of the United States. Going east to west doesn't work for them. Trying to battle Russia through Ukraine, through their proxies there, has been a fucking disaster. All of this is important because this is north-south. If you think about a military, supply chains matter.
South America. Question: is it time to look at our South American countries? And there's an article there from Seeker One entitled "Latin America Will Roar."
Yeah, that's the reference to Cuppies.
Yes, copy. It's a topic he and I have talked about, and I tend to agree. In fact, I was talking about it this morning. So there's a geopolitical play at hand. I think we've seen this pre-Trump administration. He spent, what are the egregious things Trump's talked about? I'm going to take over Mexico. He called Trudeau, Governor Trudeau, which is hilarious. He said he's going to take back the Panama Canal. When the president of Panama turned around and said it's ours or something, he said we'll see about that. He's very provocative, and then of course he's talked about Greenland, and he's like, we're going to buy Greenland, and now he's saying Maduro's got to go. We want that too. All of this is important because this is north-south. If you think about a military, supply chains matter. This is all within the sphere, the geographical sphere of influence of the United States. Going east to west doesn't work for them. Trying to battle Russia through Ukraine, through their proxies there, has been a fucking disaster. I think they're going to be less excited to go and get involved in Taiwan or South Korea. Huge supply chains. They learned a lesson in Vietnam War. Okay, so it's not east-west, it's north-south. North-south is where the focus of the new administration is going to be. Probably why Musk is such a proponent of Milei, aside from the fact that potentially they ideologically aligned. But why is it that Musk has spent so much time going after Maduro, championing Milei, championing Bukele, and now you got Trump talking about Panama? This is all north-south. This is Latin South America, and then up Greenland and Canada. That's the control mechanism. That's where the new administration is going to be focusing their efforts, and they're going to do so by economic and financial support, and it'll be the carrot and the stick. That region is kind of interesting. If you look at Colombia, for example, cheap assets. In 2026, they're going to have an election. Same thing in Brazil. The lefties there's lefties in Brazil, there's lefties in Colombia, there's lefties in Chile. And all of those countries, the people are pissed with them. Maybe a little bit less so in Brazil, but definitely in Chile and in Colombia. Those two politicians are out. Come next year, they're out for sure. And there will be economic incentives and political incentive push from the United States, where in the last administration, they didn't give a shit about Latin America. They didn't pay any attention to them. And I think that's going to be a change. So I think we're very well positioned with respect to Argentina, and could look at some of these other jurisdictions like Chile and Colombia for cheap assets as well.
If you look at how do you invest? Well, we can't trade on the Sao Paulo exchange. We can't trade on the Santiago exchange. We just got to look,
it's ADRs.
Smattering of ADRs.
It's tough. It's ADRs.
Yeah. There's not many.
But look,
but it's ADRs for everyone else.
Look, the first round of capital is going to be your big swinging, gosh, I don't really know, Vanguard, State Streets. These guys, people think they're smart. They're not. They're political, intellectual weasels for the most part. They will simply put capital into the big ADRs. That's what will move first. Second round of financing will go into the more smaller tier companies, and that will basically be your much more nuanced hedge funds that have got brokerage accounts sitting in Colombia, right, and things of that nature. But we're a long ways off that, I think. So ADRs would be the stuff to look at.